Good morning, everybody. Good to see you tuning in. Thanks for joining us from Chile, Blue Valentine. Good to see you, Ruth. All right. Well, today's going to be a bit of a user request day. So if you have any requests for class today, let me know. You got some point of pain or type of Qigong you want to do or something, feel free to type it in the chat and make you a custom class. You have 30 seconds. Let's see. Hip stuff. Okay. A lot of pressure stored in mid and upper back. Work on presence. All right. Hips, mid, upper back, presence. That sounds good. All right. Well, let's get moving. Oh, say a few more. Abdominal discomfort, digestive system and bladder, dragon, swimming dragon, shoulders. Okay. Great. Well, let me just get the camera better here. Okay. Oh, having this weird problem with my camera not focusing right. I even bought a whole new camera. Come on. There we go. Let's see something about the lighting in this room. All right, well, let's begin with the feet under the shoulders. We'll just start with some deep abdominal breathing. So bring the hands over the lower abdomen. Feet hip to shoulder width apart. Let's close the lips. Start to breathe through the nose. And just start to slow down those breaths. Encourage them to go deep into the abdomen. Inhale, the belly expanding into the hands. Exhale, the belly relaxing back towards the spine. Deep and slow. And I'll start to move our spine. This one called spinal cord breathing. We're going to make light fists. Pull the chest forward. And bring the elbows and fists together. Rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. Inhale, chest comes forward. Pelvis tilts forward, looking up. Exhale, chest sinks back. Tailbone tucks, chin tucks. Finding a gentle stretch along the spine. Nice slow breath spell. Good, bring it down. And let's start to move through the waist and lower back areas. We're going to take our hands on our hips. We're going to leave our hips in one spot and start to circle the chest, head, and upper body. direction. And then leave your chest in one spot and circle the hips. And the other direction. To the center, very nice. Let's move through the upper back and shoulders a little bit. This one we're gonna rotate the shoulders forward, or circle the shoulders forward. So we're gonna lift up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back. And see if you can kind of feel the movement more from the shoulder blades. You're kind of squeezing them together, sliding them up, wrapping them forward, pulling them down. It's really our shoulder blade that moves when we move the shoulder. So just trying to do that a little more intentionally. And then with a little rotation of the arms. So you're gonna rotate, do an internal rotation of the arms as the shoulders pull up and forward, and an external rotation as the arms pull back and down. Internal rotation, external rotation. Internal, external. Internal, external. Let's go the other direction. Going up, back, down, forward. Up, back, down, forward. And trying that with the rotation as well, rotating the arms out as you pull back, rotating in as you go forward. Rotate out, rotate in, out, in, out, in. Again, focusing more on the shoulder blades than the shoulder. Squeeze shoulder blades together, slide them down the back. Let's relax, shake that out. Okay, what was I gonna do next? Oh yeah, another great one for the shoulders, upper back, and the waist. Let's start with the waist part actually. So get your feet in a nice solid stance under your hips or shoulders. We're gonna try to keep the hips totally stationary here. You can take one hand on the solar plexus, one hand on the lower abdomen. What we're gonna try to do is shift this upper hand by I'll move a little bit so I'll blend in with the wall back there. We're gonna try to shift the rib cage without moving the pelvis. So I'm not doing this, right? Pelvis and legs stay here. Rib cage shifts left and right. Okay, and what we're also not doing is we're not tilting the rib cage. It's not a tilt, it's a shift. Okay. Now we're gonna add the arms. Hands come out. We have room here. And you're gonna take let's say the right hand, and you're gonna flip it all the way around until it's palm face up from a twisted position. And as we're doing that, we're going to shift our rib cage over to the left and turn our head and look at the left palm. Then we're going to rotate the arms as we come to the center. Right palm is just kind of up in a neutral way. Left palm twists underneath. And we turn the head to look at the right palm. Shift the rib cage to the right. And now we're going to rotate. Rotate the arms. Shift the ribs. Turn the head. Rotate, shift, turn. Rotate, shift, turn. Let's go back and forth. Twisting through the arms. Shifting in the waist. Twisting in the neck. Very good. Come back to the center. Press the palms together, stretch the wrists. Point them down. Then bring them behind the back. Palms together, fingers pointed down. Roll your shoulders back. Let's find a slow circle of the head here. Just stretch through the neck and shoulders now. And go the other way. Come to the center. Let's use those hands still behind the back. Put them against your sacrum, just above your tailbone. Push the hips forward, leaning back. Send the hips back, hinging at the hips, bending the knees. Hips forward, pressing with the knuckles of the thumbs. Hips back. We're going to sort of turn this into a wave. Drop the chin. Push the hips forward, roll up at the top, lift the chin up. Keep the chin lifted as those hips drop back. Drop the chin at the bottom, the spine rounds. Then a wave comes up from the legs, up the spine, up into the neck as we lift the chin. Opening through the spine, shoulders. And then come to the top. And then just drop the chin down by itself. We'll take a few deep breaths into the upper back here. Use your breath, your inhale. Expand between your shoulder blades. Just find a little stretch in the upper back or neck. Lift your head, release, shake it out. And I gotta stop wearing gray with this gray wall. I was wearing gray pants in my class yesterday. No one can see what my legs are doing. Just checking your comments there. Good. Shake at the wrists, shake at the shoulders. And give a leg a shake. Feel the muscles bouncing on the thigh. Like they're trying to pull off the bone. Other side. Hold on to something if you need to. Do a quick kick, shaking the thigh muscles. Good. All right, let's find some leg swings. I think we were doing this last week or something. This is a really nice one. So the idea is when we swing a body part in Qigong, usually the joint we're swinging from, so let's say it's the arm. You can just try this with me. We swing the arm, and then try it controlled, using the shoulder muscles versus completely relaxing the shoulder muscles and kind of turning your hips to create the swing. Shoulders relaxed. You feel the difference? It's like you can feel the weight of and momentum of the arm pulling on the connective tissues slightly in the shoulder joint. If you relax it, whereas if you use the muscles, there's no pull, there's no space being created in the joint. But if you use momentum and relax the shoulder, there's a little pull and a little space. So that's usually in Qigong when we're doing like these swinging type exercises. That's the feeling we're looking for to stimulate the movement of blood and fluid into various joint tissues. Said to be very beneficial for them. So we can also do that with the hips. I know it's kind of weirder to swing your legs, but here's how we do it. So we start with muscular effort. We lift one leg out to the side. We're using these side hip muscles, but then we want to completely relax the hip as we let the leg swing across and back. We just do 2 swings. We lift up to start using the hip muscles and relax. We go 1, 2, down. We're done. We do the other side. Use the hip muscles, then relax the hip muscles as we swing. The thing that's giving us the swing is the momentum because we've lifted up like the roller coaster at the top of the hill, right? And then just falls down. But also our turn of the hips is helping this. So notice I turn my hips one way, turn them the other. And this turn is helping to swing the leg. We're using both. Okay, so first lifting, then drop, turn, down. Lift, turn, down. Lift, turn, down. And then I was kind of demonstrating with my hands, but it can be nice to kind of just counterbalance with your hands. And just see how much you can relax the leg. Not really the leg itself so much as around the hip. Nice one to challenge the balance as well. A lot of things Qigong stumbled into, 1,000 years before modern physical therapy. I don't know if you've ever seen exercises in physical therapy, maybe for like repairing the shoulder joint, where they'll have you kind of lean over something and hold like a 2-pound weight in your hand and just kind of let it swing in circles with your shoulder relaxed. It's really the same idea. It's just that that's using weight, whereas here we use momentum. It's really incredible some of the stuff they were able to figure out before X-rays or anything like that. All right, shake it out. Okay, very good. Let me think about some other suggestions we had. I think we had a request for swimming dragon. This is really one of my favorite forms of Qigong. I think a lot of people's favorite. It's such a cool one. So we're going to bring our feet close together. Swimming dragon is really great for the spine. That's what it actually refers to. So swimming dragon is both the name of a Qigong school or system that has these specific exercises. But the swimming dragon is also a principle within Qigong and Taoism more broadly. So the dragon is symbolic of the spine, and the swimming is symbolic of the movement of energy through the spine. So it's actually really along the lines of the same idea as the Kundalini serpent in yoga traditions. It's energy that moves through the spine. So here we're not trying to like awaken Kundalini or anything like that. We're more just trying to open up the spine so we have better energy flow, less pain, more mobility, better posture, things like that. But anyway, so yeah, we want free movement of the spine. And that's what the swimming dragon symbolizes. So what we're going to do is have our feet close together and our palms in prayer to start. And we'll learn the simple version first, and then I'll teach you a bit more like complicated instructions. But feel free to stick with the basic one. So what we're going to do basically is just send the hands one direction at a time, side to side. And as we do, we're trying to keep the palms face up. So I'm not going like this. I'm going like this. Or not the palms, the fingers pointing face up towards the ceiling. Okay. And then as we do that, our hips go the opposite direction. Hips gliding one side to the other. Don't straighten your knees here. Have the knees a little bent as we're doing this. And then the head is also going to turn opposite to the hands. The hips are shifting opposite, the head is turning opposite. And be careful with your spine. If you have a history of slipped discs, herniated discs in your spine, be real careful with this one. You can always make this movement a lot smaller. Okay, we'll come back to the center, and here's where our dragon is going to swim. Start with just your head and neck. Lead with the crown of the head. Just like you're swimming side to side, like your neck is a snake. And then once we've got the head, start to follow with the rest of the spine. Like you're a snake swimming through water, leading with the tip of your skull. The rest of your spine all the way down to your tailbone following. It can be a tricky motion at first. Do your best and make sure your neck stays involved. We don't keep our neck locked and just move our spine underneath. Neck is a part of the motion. Head is a part of the motion in Qigong. I know we like to kind of live like we live in our head, and our body is like a puppet under our head that our head is controlling. But in Qigong, the head is part of the motions, part of the movement of the body. Okay, let's come up, reach the hands over the head. And we're just going to fold forward and find a little stretch for the hamstrings. Let's take a couple deep breaths here. We'll roll up. Bring your hands back together. Now we're just going to add a little bit of complexity to this that brings out the spine in a slightly different way. Again, if you have history of herniated discs or anything like that, be careful with this type of exercise. Go real gentle. All right, bending the knees again. So we're going to find the same motion, hands going side to side, hips going opposite, and head turning opposite to the hands as well. So whichever way the head's turning, that's the way the hips are shifting. Now we're going to add something a little different. Or really just add on something that's already happening naturally here. So notice how the head is turning. And start to think of your shoulders and rib cage turning opposite to the head. So not just the hands moving, but the hands are pulling on the shoulders and ribs to turn as well. The rotation as well. And that will cause the neck to get a nice wringing out as the ribs and head are trying to turn in opposite directions. And then bring that same principle down to the hips. Think of the hips as turning whatever direction the head is turning. So if the head's turning left, the hips are also going to rotate left. But the ribs are still trying to rotate right. So now the hips and ribs are rotating opposite directions. And this will wring out the lower spine. And really the head and hips are going the same direction. It's the rib cage and shoulders. It's the odd one out. Hips are still shifting as we do this though. So they're still going left and right, just now also with the turn. And come back to the center. Let's take our dragon for a swim again. Start with the head again. Make sure your neck is mobile, and then let the rest of the spine follow along. Good. Reach up, stretch. And fold and stretch. Couple deep breaths here. Soft knees roll up. Step it out, give it a shake. Very nice. Just checking your comments in the time here, sorry. Okay. All right, so what do you think? Is it time for the flow? I think it might be. All right, let's, before we get into our flow, let's start, let's do a little bit of healing sounds. This is a practice we've been working on in my teacher training. This one is called the Phoenix Washes Its Feathers. It's a really good one to just clear out stagnant chi, clear out stress. Each of these sounds is said to clear a different organ of the emotions that get trapped there, which is kind of a broader concept within Chinese medicine. But if you pay attention, you'll notice this is kind of really how our emotions work. They're not really in our brain as chemicals, although I'm kind of on one level they are, right? On the kind of material level they seem to be. But on the experiential level, you might call the psychic level, we kind of experience our emotions in our torso. Like we experience emotions in our heart, in our gut, right? We get butterflies in our stomach when we're anxious. We get feelings in our heart often, even the liver. I mean, if you're really, when I pay attention, I notice when I get angry or stressed, it really is my liver that's feeling it. And that is kind of a concept from Chinese medicine as well as just it's like a saying in Irish. They call people livery if they're angry. So it seems to be a lot. It seems to be more real on a certain level than the way we think of things biochemically, this experiential level. And in this practice, we're using a different sound that basically each sound you can think of like a variation on sighing. There's a recent study done by this really interesting neuroscientist who's got a lot of popularity lately, Dr. Andrew Huberman. And he did some studies in his lab at, I want to say he teaches at Stanford, somewhere in California. But he studied a whole bunch of different breathing exercises and mindfulness practices. And he found the most effective practice for lowering stress, both immediately and throughout the course of the day. Like you do it once and the whole day your stress is lower, is the practice of sighing. And in his practice, it was specifically this practice where they would take a couple deep breaths, like with a big sniff, right? Sniffing in air twice until the lungs were full, and then letting out a big, long sigh out the mouth. And they found this was more effective than any of the mindfulness techniques or other forms of breathing exercises, like counting the breath really slow and things like that for resolving stress. And interestingly, very similar practice exists within Qigong called the Phoenix Washes Its Feathers, and it uses actually 3 sipping breaths. 1, 2, 3. They didn't test 2 versus 3 sips in this study. They only tested about 4 or 5 different techniques in general. But we do 3 sips, and then we do a sighing breath. But we have 6 ways of sighing. And in Chinese medicine or Qigong, they would say that each of these versions of a sigh clear a different type of stress from a different organ or organ meridian network. So it's a really cool technique. Let's take our palms face up. We'll just learn the breathing first before we learn those variations of sighing. So let's exhale all the breath out to start. Palms are face up. And we're going to take 3 sips through the nose. And then exhale as we push forward. Then we're going to make the hook hand, touching the fingers and thumbs, taking 3 sips again. And then open the palms and exhale as we push down. So those 3 sips, we sip in. Don't exhale between the sips. It's just in, in. Okay. Exhale. Hook hands, 3 sips. Open the hands. Exhale, press down. Palms turn up. Inhale. And our first sigh is like a letter S, like a snake hissing. I'll try to describe each sound because I'm not sure you'll be able to hear them. 3 steps again. Second sound is a whispered chew. 3 steps. So remember, each of these sounds is done in a whisper, like a sigh, so there's no vocal cords. Next sound is SH. 3 sips. Whispered ha. A bit more of a traditional sigh there. 3 sips. Whispered ho. 3 sips. Whispered he. And then a really wild ending to this one. Very weird. We turn the toes out. Take a breath in. We're going to cross the eyes and stick out the tongue as we sigh. Good. Bring it in. Inhale. Exhale. Again, gentle sigh as we come down. Good. Shake it out. Pretty strange exercise, but notice how you feel. Take a deep breath. We'll go through it one more time. This time I'll name each of the organs that we're using each sound for. You can have a little bit of intention as you make the sound. For instance, the first sound, the letter S, is to clear stagnant chi or stuck emotional energy from the lungs. So you can have a little intention, just kind of put your mind in your lungs and just intend that we're dissolving and clearing anything stuck there. And same thing for all the other organs. Okay? Palms face up, exhale. Inhale 3 sips through the nose. Lung sound, letter S. 3 sips. Kidney sound, chew. 3 sips. Liver sound, SH. 3 sips. Heart sound, ha. Again, I have to describe the sounds with my vocal cords, but do them as a whisper yourself. Spleen sound, ho. Forward sound, he. washing the feathers. Inhale. Exhale. Pause, notice how you feel. Natural breathing. Very nice. Okay, shake it out. Now let's start to shake the whole body. Getting ready for our mindful movement flows. Just let out a few more natural sighing breaths here. Sighing any way that feels good. Deep nasal breaths in between. It's one thing that really sold me on the 6 healing sounds was that when I started practicing them many years ago, I would always notice that when I did the liver sound, the SH, that it left me particularly feeling improved. I would clear away my brain fog, it seemed like. I had quite a bit of depression and stress and everything. And that sound in particular would seem to really clear things up for me. And it wasn't until years later that I found out how many problems I had been having with my liver. It seemed like every time I went to an acupuncturist, they'd be diagnosing me with stagnant liver qi. And so when I really started paying attention, I started noticing that a lot of my negative emotional experience was in my liver. I actually started learning a form of abdominal massage called Qigong that I used to do in Santa Cruz when I was an up-and-coming Qigong teacher and was trying to make a little more money. I started a little bodywork clinic, and it's really cool therapy. Qigong, if you can find a practitioner, it's actually super helpful for intestinal problems and stuff. But I would find that when I massaged myself, the most painful part of my body was my liver. It was extremely tender. Like it had been inflamed for a long time. I started to notice that even doing deep breathing exercises, the pressure of my diaphragm on my liver when I was doing deep breathing was actually slightly painful. So, but I didn't realize all of this until after. My first clue was that when I did the liver sound in Qigong, that seemed to have the most profound effect on clearing up whatever qi stagnation was happening inside of me. So, pretty weird that the sound would be the first thing. You'd think it would be the touching the liver or breathing into the liver or something like that. That would have tipped me off, or reading something scientific about the liver or blood test or something. But it was this strange, magical, far-fetched seeming sound healing system that first clued me into that. So that was kind of one of my clues that this the sound healing likely more than just the benefits of sighing or something like that. I think there actually is potentially something very specifically effective about each of those sounds. I don't think we really understand scientifically at all yet. Okay, let's slow down that shake. Just pause. Start to get into our Qigong stance for our flow. So we always want to be in this basic Qigong position. Even as we start to move, we're still maintaining this position to a large degree. So this involves the feet being hip or shoulder width apart, really whichever is wider. So typically females will be more likely to be hip width apart, males more often shoulder width apart. Whichever one's wider, your feet should be roughly there. Then we find our knees softening as our tailbone sinks. It just sinks a little bit. So we're not forcing it to tuck under. But we often see people wind up standing like this in Qigong, like their weight is just going diagonally through their tailbone straight into their knees. We wind up standing like this. That is really unnecessary. The tailbone, it's just like we had a bar stool behind us. We're just sitting down on that bar stool like this. Okay, so there's even a slight hinge forward from the hips. Our tailbone relaxes down, but not down and forward, pushing our weight and our hips forward, causing us to lean back. Okay, it's really more down and back. And our crown of our head's going up. Well, our chin goes back, so instead of lifting the crown like this, we lift it like this. Okay, this is exaggerated, so don't feel like you're like stretching your neck like a maniac the whole time. Just nice and relaxed, crown of the head. Like just a string is attached to the crown of your head. It's pulling gently. All right. And relax Relax your shoulder blades down your back. Let your fingers spread open a little bit. We'll start to move from here, maintaining this long open spine, soft joints, elevated crown, heavy tailbone through all our flows. We'll begin with Tai Chi opening. Feels like this. So we inhale, not locked straight, but relatively straight arms lift. And then you can let the elbows bend a little as they come down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Slow breathing, all the breath through the nose from here on out. We're doing a lot of sighing breaths as part of our clearing practice earlier in the practice. But once we're in the flow, typically the mouth is closed. The inhales and exhales are through the nose now. The rationalization in Qigong is that we tend to release energy by breathing out the mouth. So when we're trying to clear forms of stress, stagnant Qi, we breathe out the mouth. When we want to keep the energy inside, close the mouth. At the very least, there's a psychological effect when we close the lips. It means we're not talking. It means what is inside is not being communicated to the outside as much. So maybe just a little subconscious symbol to the brain that we're getting into a little more introverted state, paying attention to what's happening inside the body. We're going to do a little bit of work on the three dantians. Three dantians are three regions of the body, basically your brain, your heart, and your gut. These are actually the three places where we have the most nerve cells in the body, most neurons. You put together the neurons in the gut, your intestines, and your heart, you actually have more than your whole brain. We actually do a lot of thinking with our heart and our gut. A lot of information being processed there. And in Qigong, thousands of years before they knew what neurons were, they realized these were very important locations for the transmutation of energy. So let's come to a Qi ball here. Just holding a ball, then start to turn the ball. Kind of rotating the ball on a 45-degree axis, one way then the other. And as you do that, you can start to rotate the hips in a similar way, pulling the hip forward with the hand. Exaggerating here so you can see it. Just doing it kind of subtle. Okay, just starting to get a little loose in the hips. And start to feel like this ball, it's not in front of you, it's not in between the hands, but it's inside of you. It's like our hands here are remote control steering this ball in the dantian. Dantian's the lower abdominal region. So imagine like a ball sitting in your pelvic bowl, sort of like an ice cream scoop on top of an ice cream cone. And like that's the ball we're rotating with the hands. Lower dantian is considered the most important and foundational to work with in Qigong. Provides a sense of stability when we cultivate presence here. Mental stability, emotional stability, and physical well-being. Say that we can store energy here at the dantian, energy to nourish the body. Okay, come back to the center. And we'll find a little flow. This is from Jiben Qigong, foundational Qigong. It's called compressing the pearl. So imagine that ball sort of expands, becomes enormous, pushes your hands up to shoulder height, palms turn down, and the palms turn back in as we like compress the energy back into the ball. Inhale, ball pushes against the hands, expanding through the body. And exhale, compress that back to the dantian. And again, the balls, it's not in our hands. Our hands are just the remote control. The ball's in here. So it's expanding the chi throughout the body. And then contracting it back to the dantian. Inhale, expand. Exhale, compress. Sink. Notice it's not just my hands moving. I'm standing taller and sinking back to that chi position. Standing taller, sinking back to the chi position. Long, slow breath through the nose. Just do a couple more here. Back to the ball and start to rotate the ball again. Again, not the ball in your hands, rotate the ball. Feel it move in your pelvis, hips. Okay, now from here, we're going to keep this movement going. Just going to change a little bit. This is actually part of the swimming dragon system. Dragons here is going to swim through the three dantians. So here we're going to start to reach forward. And it's like we're grabbing a thick rope, pulling it in towards the lower abdomen. This is where our breath is no longer going to link with the motion, but we'll still keep very long, slow, deep nasal breaths. Notice just the back of my hand that floats forward, and then it rotates as it grabs that thick rope, pulls in. Back of the hand floats forward and then rotates. And it's like our hip is throwing the hand forward. The hip is turning to throw the hand forward. In slow motion. You can imagine that this rope is made of white light. Like we're pulling it from the core of the earth itself. It's like we're reaching into a mountainside, pulling out the vital energy from the earth, moving it through our own core. This white light comes straight from the core of the earth. And grab this rope of white light, bring it into the dantian where we're filling up a ball of white light, hot, vital energy. Just really sink into that flow. Don't worry too much about visualizing. It's just kind of there to help let your body know what's supposed to be happening. You don't have to focus on it too hard. Just pay attention to the slow movement of the body, using the hands to guide attention more than anything to the lower abdomen. Now we're going to come up to the heart. Here, less grabbing a rope and more like we're reaching to the horizon, grabbing a breeze. Bring that breeze through the heart. Breathing slow and deep through the nose. Not linked with this exercise. And you can imagine at the horizon we have a sunset or a sunrise, and so it's like we're gathering golden lights with that breeze. Warm golden breeze through the heart. Now this is bringing emotional balance and calm to the heart. Now we're going to come up to the forehead. Here, imagine a night sky above you and like you're gathering starlight. Imagine this starlight, very special purple starlight. Cooling purple starlight through the brain, through the upper dantian. Mindful breathing. Awareness with the body and here also with the brain. Gathering cool purple light to calm the mind, bring stillness. And imagine your brain cooling down. Coolness means stillness. Heat means the movement of particles, right? The vibration. That's all heat is. Coolness is a lack of vibration, a lack of movement, meaning stillness. And we come back to the heart, gather that golden breeze, warming the heart. Back to the lower dantian, gathering that white light from the earth. Heating up the body, charging up the metabolism. And then we're going to come back to our chi ball and imagine this ball of hot white light, like the core of the earth is now inside our dantian. We're rolling it. And start to roll it the other way. Rolling it forward. And bring the hands, one crossed over the other, crossing the centers of the palms, not your fingers, centers of the palms. This point crossed over each other. Front of the lower dantian. Not quite touching the hands together, not quite touching the belly, everything inch or so apart. Center of the palm should be a little lower than the navel, a couple inches. Bring your attention into the dantian. Release the hands, float up, and cross those same points, center of the palms, over the crown of the head. Imagine like you have the North Star above your head, it's shining down through the hands, through the crown of the head, through the center of the body to the pelvic floor, and then down below you, down to the core of the earth. It's a beam of white light. And like the hands have gathered that white light, and we're going to shine it through the mid-eye, between the eyebrows, through this pit of the throat, through the heart, through the solar plexus, through the lower dantian. Release, and we do this as a flow now. Inhale. Use the hand to guide your awareness through the crown, forehead, throat, heart, solar plexus, lower dantian. I think I forgot to say the exhale. Here's your inhale. And exhale as we guide down. Let's do two more. Helping the chi to sink and helping to line up and connect these different energy centers through the body. And we'll fold the hands over the lower dantian. Step the feet in close together. Begin to allow your knees and shoulders to soften. Tailbone to sink. Crown gently floating up, but your shoulders relaxing down. Let your body really soften to the point that you naturally, without force or effort, start to rock and sway. And just allow natural breathing here through the nose. It's giving the mind an opportunity to rest, not having to think about movements or anything, just completely relaxing and surrendering here. Stay with the feeling of your body and breath. We're going to step out, we're going to circle the belly. Center below the navel. Deep breath in. And a sigh. Very nice. All right, let's just find just like a few minutes, like less than 5 minutes of meditation. Really nothing complicated. Nothing complicated, just enough to, oh boy. I just keep, there you go. Just enough to consolidate the energy we've gathered. So you can find yourself seated or even laying down if you like. Just some really comfortable position. We're just going to close our eyes, come back to our breath, wherever you're comfortable. And again, we'll just really let the breath be natural. And just be with your body, be with your breath. We'll just do a simple relaxation technique here. As we inhale, we'll think the phrase, inhaling, I'm aware of my body. As we exhale, we'll think the phrase, exhaling, I relax my body. Inhaling, I'm aware of my body. Exhaling, I relax my body. Just a few more breaths like that. Inhaling, aware of my body. Exhaling, relaxing my body. Let go of the resistance that impedes the healthy flow of energy. And feel free to stay there as long as you like, or join me in folding the hands over the belly again, giving a few belly circles. And we'll end with, again, a big inhale and a gentle sigh. Very nice. And feel free to move around a little bit, any way your body's asking for. Very good. Well, how was that? You guys feel good? Good. All right. Well, that was a fun class. Thanks for all your suggestions. Sometimes I wake up and it's really early in the morning and I'm like, what the heck am I going to teach? My brain's not working yet. So really fun to get all those suggestions because it really helps me actually remember a lot of Qigong exercises that I forget I know. Um, Maybe one day I'll like make an Excel spreadsheet with all and catalog all the Qigong exercises I know. But for now, this seems to be the best way to pull them out of the memory bank. So thanks so much, guys. What's going on? I think there's one slot left in the Hawaii retreat if anybody wants to buy a last minute ticket. No pressure, obviously, but just letting you know the opportunities there. Info on that's available on the website, nicklockyer.com. What else? Oh, if you enjoy this class, it'll be on YouTube for a few days, and then it'll be on my Patreon, along with all the other replays of YouTube lives I've done. There's probably at least 100 of them on there. Got a huge library of Qigong and Taoist yoga classes and stuff on there. So Um, if you're into that, it's $5 a month. Cheapest Qigong subscription library on the internet, as far as I can tell. $5 a month, and you get dozens and dozens and dozens of classes and stuff. So thanks to those of you who already support me on there. Really helps out a lot. Link to that is in the description as well. Patreon.com/NickLawfree. And we also have our next teacher training starting soon. Our current one is wrapping up in 2 weeks. It's been super fun, really good group, really inquisitive, lots of questions, lots of participation. So I've had a really good time teaching this group. But the next one is going to start March 11th. And you can still get 15% off. Our super early bird is done, but the early bird is still there. So you can still get 15% off until, when was it? Till February something. I don't actually remember. It's like early February. So if you sign up by February, it'll be good. But if you wait till middle of February, I guess it'll be done. But yeah, it's 12 weeks. It's all online. You get huge library of lectures on theory and practice videos and all kinds of stuff. And, and we do 12 live sessions online as a group together, with Q&A and everything. And then you also get 2 private sessions with me to check your forms and ask further questions and stuff. So it's a pretty sweet course. I'm pretty happy with it. And I think it's pretty affordable as far as Qigong or really any kind of teacher training program goes. I think it's pretty affordable. So anyways, that's my marketing for the day. Let me read your comments. I see Ruth says her 4-year-old enjoyed the meditation. I did not know your kid was 4 years old already, Ruth. I would have guessed 2. Man, time flies. Ruth used to take my Qigong classes in Santa Cruz. I guess 4 years ago. pretty sure you moved to Oregon when you were going to have the baby, right? So, man, I can't believe it was that long ago. Good. Awesome. Well, fun seeing you guys. Let's see. I've got a new video up. If you haven't checked it out already, Qigong for the knees, hips, and feet. And it's not just Qigong. It's a bunch of biomechanical stuff I've been learning over the last year, I guess. And I've just found it super, super effective. It really strengthens the joints, which is really weird. You're not supposed to be able to according to most Western medicine, you're not really supposed to be able to regrow ligaments or regrow cartilage or cushioning in the joints. But apparently that's total BS. So I put together a bunch of the stuff that I found helpful in just building up my joints, and I've thrown it in there. So I think it's a great video, and I'll have a few more coming out soon, just kind of related to that topic of just bulletproofing the lower body and the knees in particular. That can actually be a bit of a problem in Qigong and Tai Chi especially, and internal martial arts especially, like Bagozong. People just, we tend to, yoga had the same thing. There's 20 years of people thinking yoga was nothing but good. It could only do good for you. And then they realize oh, if you do it wrong, you get all these lifelong injuries and stuff. So I think Qigong and Tai Chi are probably going through the same thing. People think it's like a new relationship. You're all in love and you only see the good things. But there's definitely ways to mess up your knees doing Qigong. And it's not like Qigong messes up your knees, but I think there's a lot of ways it's being taught that messes up your knees. I think there's a lot of ways you can misinterpret the teachings and mess up your knees. So yeah, it's kind of in tennis and golf, they have that saying, the tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, because that sport is particularly hard on the elbow. I think Qigong, Tai Chi, Bagozong are similar with the knees. That's the joint that seems to take the most stress if you're doing things incorrectly. So, so the routine I came out with is to kind of bulletproof your knees against that kind of stuff, whether it's in Qigong or whatever you're doing to stress your knees out, living life, going up and down stairs. I don't know. But also, sorry, I was just reading a comment, threw my mind off track. This is what happens when I try to set these kind of early in the morning. My brain's still asleep. I've also got a couple of videos coming out on some of those common mistakes. So the common mistakes to avoid in Qigong and Tai Chi, that'll save your knees. And Also, an extra technique that's super, super powerful. I think the most effective technique for bulletproofing your knees. Someone says, I made the mistake of trying the tendon challenge, my first Qigong exercise. Whoopsie. There's so many different types of tendon changing Qigong. So I don't know which one you did, but I'm sure there's ones that are like super strenuous and maybe aren't the best place to start. But some of them are pretty gentle. Uh, anyways, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to try to do these around the same time each week. This might have been a tiny bit early for me on a Sunday morning, so I might make it like half an hour or maybe an hour later. So just check back in with the YouTube channel. Um, you'll see the schedule and everything. All right. Bye bye.